La conferenciant convidada. Està connectada ja la Daria? Evelina. Daria. I can see you now. Yeah. Welcome. Are you still from Sweden? Are you in Sweden now? Yeah. Okay. Vaig a presentar. Em sentiu, sí, no? Sí. Presento la Daria Tatai. Ella és experta internacional en emprenedoria i innovació. És assessora estratègica d'alt nivell de la Unió Europea i està considerada a nivell mundial una persona de referència en aquest camp. Sovint busquem en les paraules la inspiració que ens permeti transformar la realitat, reinventar-nos, reconèixer els horitzons que tenim sempre de millora i de creixement. La doctora Tatai és una experta a fer això. És una conferenciant inspiradora que ens ensenya com créixer en entorns de crisi. Ell ho fa a través de la innovació i a través del que ell anomena pensament en xarxa, network thinking. Ell ha desenvolupat un mètode per avaluar la nostra capacitat de desenvolupar-nos en aquest entorn de la societat en xarxa. La conferència d'avui va sobre això, sobre la necessitat que tenim d'innovar en xarxa i quines són les nostres capacitats i les nostres mancances a l'hora de fer aquesta acció, de moure'ns en aquest entorn. Ell en diu network thinking, pensament en xarxa. 2 apunts sobre la conferència d'avui. Un primer apunt, la doctora Tatai ens ensenyarà els resultats dintre la seva conferència d'haver fet 31 tests a 31 persones del Departament. Per tant, hi haurà un cas pràctic, que és avaluar de les 31 persones del Departament quines són les nostres capacitats i quines són les nostres, diguéssim, dificultats a l'hora de desenvolupar-nos en xarxa. I un segon apunt és que no podem fer un torn de paraules, questions and answers, tot serà respost a través del xat, ja sigui online o ja sigui offline. La conferència serà en anglès. Daria, welcome. Thank you for being here. So I was talking about that in your presentation, you will take into account the 31 tests from people of the department. So the floor is yours, and today is the line is yours. Thank you for being here, Daria.
Please turn off your microphone, Daria. Turn on it. Julia, ¿tienes la posibilidad o alguien tiene la posibilidad de encender el micrófono de Daria?
La puedo silenciar, pero encender el micrófono, voy a ver. No. Si pruebas... No, la puedo silenciar solamente. Qué raro. No, ella no se oye, parece, ¿no? Y salir y volver.
And if you turn off the camera and microphone and try again, Daria.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, fantastic. I'm turning on the video, so you should also see me. But bom dia a tots. Felicitat als ganhadors i més cordials gràcies per la invitació a parlar sobre innovació de la societat de la xarxa. But if you allow me, I will speak in English. Although those who know me, you know that I've been learning Spanish and a little bit of Catalan, and that Barcelona is absolutely my favorite place in the world. But since we have a few minutes of retard, let me go straight to sharing my screen. Now, can you see my screen?
Yes, it's not full screen, but we can.
Okay, perfect.
Now it's full. Now it's perfect.
Okay, super. So this is a screenshot taken in the end of February during the summit of the Digital Future Society, a think tank started by the Mobile World capital, Barcelona. I was invited to speak about the future of work. And this was right at a time when the summit took place, despite the fact that the Mobile World Congress was cancelled. I was speaking in the moment where we all knew that something extremely disruptive is coming, but we could not imagine the size, the speed, and the scale of the disruption. Today, 4 months later, we are in a totally different world. And we can say that we jumped into the future. And actually, the future of work, the future of every single citizen, the future of every single person absolutely depends on a new way of thinking, how we refind ourselves, how we restart growth in the crisis of the post-corona world. At the time, I was speaking about innovation, about network society, and about the network intelligence. And let me speak today again about this topic, but from a different perspective, because what I thought at the time would be needed in the future, I believe it has become instrumental today. Now, let me first refer to how we should innovate in the post-COVID-19 world. Then let me talk about the network intelligence and the ecosystem dynamics. I will refer to the results of the network IQ tests that you have taken. And then let me share 2 cases as inspiration of what other regions in Europe are doing, one region in the Netherlands and the other one in the UK. I've been working with Professor Manuel Castells for over a decade. And in my book, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, a Growth Model for Europe Beyond the Crisis, he said that this book may start a new way of thinking. And this inspired me to look into how innovation is, where innovation is coming from in the society, in the network society, that is society connected real-time by telecommunication networks, the society that needs a new type of leadership, because every single person who has connection to the internet must self-communicate. And this is why in these ecosystems, I realized that there are the big influences, the policies, the strategies of large corporations, the efforts of the universities to come up with new way of teaching and learning. But foremost, what makes some regions turn around and become high-performance innovation ecosystems is how people think. And in this, on the right, you see a pictogram, which basically shows the theories I presented in my book. It's a beautiful pictogram taken during the Smart City Expo World Congress 2 years ago. And I'm saying that to grow beyond the crisis, you basically do not need much resources. You need a bit of talent, a bit of knowledge, and a bit of funding. And you need foremost to overcome the silos, because really the 4 pillars of every innovation economy, that is research, innovation in industry and government, education, and entrepreneurship, tend to work in silos. And as far as I've been working in Catalan ecosystem, I know that you are one of the most dynamic ecosystems in Europe that manage to reinvent itself over the last decades, but at the same time, there are extremely strong fragmentation with this ecosystem. So the whole concept of where innovation comes from in the network society, it basically comes from ability of people to work across silos of research, innovation, education, and entrepreneurship. And then with very little resources, if you are able to bring the people working in the silos into a network, if you're able to co-create and then orchestrate different projects, this is how you're reinventing the future. On the right side, you see a screenshot of ESIR, an expert group to support transformative research and innovation policy. I've been the chair of RISE group of advisors to Commissioner Moedas, the EU Commissioner for Research, Science and Innovation. And today I continue to advise Commission, and this is our most recent publication, which was made public in June. And in the first sentence of what we advise the European member states, regions, is that we do talk about the proper green and social recovery. We put the connection between the recovery beyond the crisis and the green policies, the circular economy, the focus on the transformation of industry towards the industry of the manufacturing towards the industry 4.0. We strongly make the connection that the recovery that every single society in Europe, if not in the world, will be struggling with, must take into account the green aspect that we cannot take over by the short-term needs, the long-term vision that we had put out so idealistically, so powerfully in the Green Europe by 2050. Now, in our brief, we talk about three things. Number one, how to defend the most vulnerable. Number two, how to prepare to reorganize, how to prepare for the midterm recovery. And then how to really think long-term and unleash the transformation. And I believe that what you've been doing is really the question of how you try to bring the open innovation ecosystem, engage many actors, citizens, entrepreneurs in working across the silos, and then how to use the digital economy, and then how to put the green recovery at the heart of what Catalonia wants to become in the short and midterm. Now, the real challenge is that we all know, I could say, what we want to do. We want to have a better future. We want to have a green, clean air, safe transport, more balance in the ecosystem. But really the challenge is how to do it. And this question, how to do it, was really the core always of my understanding what kind of skills and thinking for transformation we need. The concept of network intelligence is anchored in my work with Professor Castells, but also in the experimentation of how to transform the Catalan ecosystem, my observations working with the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya, working with different citizens in Badalona, with the association Restart Badalona, where we're trying to come up with a bottom-up force to integrate the resources and put Badalona on a green future for growth. Now, to do this, you need a lot of intelligence in the ecosystem. And this is what I call the network intelligence. And you can very well say that, of course, you're for sure very aware of the concept of the emotional intelligence. So it's true that we need a systems thinking and we do need creativity. But at the same time, we have this, I put the Internet of Humans is of course in the future, but today we do have an AI enhanced learning mechanisms to understand how the big data allows us to better design the systems for transformation. But what I want to say is that we have the capacity of building social networks at an unprecedented scale and mobilizing whole communities to drive transformation. Because innovation is not technology. Although quite often we think innovation is technology. Innovation is actually the combination of the socio-technological and economic aspects. So this whole system comes down how today we will be able to work more effectively in virtual teams and how we will be able to manage our diverse identities. Now, the network intelligence today is what we measure, and we decided to measure 7 skills: network strategy, networking, engagement, empowerment, digital communication, collaboration for diversity, and influence. Because when we talk about the skills for the future, the skills for innovation, skills for transformation, it's never one skill. It's always a skill set that is needed. And my research shows that this bucket of skills actually allows, enables, empowers the ecosystem transformation. What you see on the right is the measurement of the network IQ of persons who took the test. You can see that the 3 colorful fields, which is network strategy, engagement, and collaboration for diversity, show the intermediate level of advancement. The other skills are at the basic level. Now, when we compare, when we look at the median, so we do not look at the average because there were 2 people who were very outside of this scale. I decided to look at the median. I wanted to show you, to build awareness of how skillful you are in versus the average median data in our database. So in terms of network strategy, you scored not far away from the median, 71 points versus 75. However, it's interesting because actually the network strategy is one of the lowest ranked skills. So usually in the groups that we've been working with, but you're extremely strong in kind of analytical capacity and thinking in terms of systems. Now, where you have the strongest gaps and the biggest opportunities for improvement is really about the networking and about the empowerment of others to build their networks. So let me move a bit closer and show that that in terms of standard distribution, you really have a big room for improvement as a community to move to the right of the scale beyond the golden line shows the average score of the network IQ. You need to invest in the skills across the entire team or group of people who took the test. Now, you will see that there are I'm sure that you always want to benchmark yourself. So if you want to know what is the average network IQ of all the people who took the test, so this combination of the 7 skills, ability to integrate the 7 skills, is 66. If you're below, there is surely, investment to made in the way you're thinking, in the way you're able to connect networking and innovation to use networking, work across silos, building trust-based relationships for growth, for innovation. You will see here that there is very few people who have advanced skills. The purple line shows the number of people who have advanced skills in certain levels. So you will see that there are 6 people who have the advanced level of the network strategy skill. But at the same time, we will see that there is very few people who have the advanced level of all the other skills, especially the skills that are core for building social networks. We also use this data to make the profiles of digital leaders, and we bundle together the 3 skills responsible for building social networks. That is networking. This is what we usually mean by extending and making those weak ties. Then engagement and empowerment of others to build the network. So really it's the process of building the trust within your networks and moving those weak ties into strong ties, which always comes with the increased number of trust. And I believe that this shows that out of the people who have a dominant profile, now we define the dominant profile when a given skill, sub-skill set is at least 10% stronger than others, is that 14 people in this group are really good strategic thinkers. They understand the dynamics. They see the big picture. They are skillful in strategic planning. They believe in data analytics and they value system thinking. So this is your really strong aspect of the team who took the test. Now you have 0 persons, so no one in the group has the profile, the dominant profile of a person who knows how to build partnerships, networks, communities, who's capable of engaging virtually and empowering others. I believe that this is something that requires food for thought. And you have 2 people as an influencer and orchestrator as a dominant profile. The orchestrator is a person who's focused on implementation, who's able to optimize processes, to orchestrate multiple projects. So it's connected to a different organizational structure of thinking. What is an institution, a ministry, a firm? Because we work today with very much more blurred boundaries of what is an organization. We innovate with citizens, we innovate with within departments. So this also person has an instrumental role in being able to make the link between seeing the big picture, then making things really diffused. And really the challenge today is not so much about coming with the new ideas, with attractive ideas or new technologies and solutions. It's really the challenge to innovation and growth is about the diffusion of innovation. It's about the scaling up of the solutions. And this person, these are the people who are able to do it. And finally, the influencers. It's so important today to be able to mobilize the crowds, to mobilize communities. And I know that Barcelona is fantastic in terms of experimenting with engaging citizens, is one of the most innovative solutions, how Barcelona has become a role model. But still, in the group of people who took the test, I believe that you would benefit being able to have more digital trust and being more thinking in terms of impact and how to connect to the other influencers in the ecosystems. So very short before I move to the quick 2 cases, what would be my recommendations? Number 1, take advantage of your strong network strategy skill in your ecosystem. I would recommend that you use the purpose network fit process to take advantage of the networks you already have. Then I believe you should build competences for strategic e-networking, for talent and innovation. And I also think you should learn by doing how to work with diverse stakeholders and engage virtually. Everyone today is on a verge of a totally new way of working. So you will not be alone. Everyone is experimenting how not only to use digital tools, this we learned pretty fast, but also how to become much more, how to think differently. How to think differently about the work as such, but also about innovation and growth. Then I would encourage you to use more social networking tools to integrate the community, and especially the innovators in this community, the researchers, the people who are part of the acceleration programs, the investment community. My experience shows that quite often, and Barcelona is not an exception, that you do need more simply digital communication skills to build more trusted relations. Now, finally, my recommendation would be network the influencers in the Catalan ecosystems, in the Catalan ecosystem. You have fantastic resources. And if only the people who are influencers, and when I say an influencer, you may think about those big people who have strong networks in offline, but also a very strong digital presence. No, I think that every person can be a nano or micro influencer with an enormous capacity to trigger change. So it's important that you're connecting the influencers in the ecosystem based on their ambition to take advantage of the fact that they can influence the direction of how the ecosystem will be changing and how green this growth will be. Then continue to engage citizens to influence the spread and scaling up of innovations. And finally, do build capacity of startups to grow and influence the ecosystems. I strongly believe in the power of entrepreneurship. So let me move to the two case studies. One is a Brainport region, and these both case studies are very recent. These are real cases that we've been working with using our network thinking methodology and the network IQ assessment and development. Brainport region in the Netherlands is one of the top innovation regions in Europe. It's a small city, just 200,000 people, but it produces 40% of all patents in the Netherlands, and is an ecosystem of 10,000 high-tech companies. The heart is the Eindhoven University of Technology, who wants to be a catalyst of this ecosystem, and works closely with the regional development agency, the Brainport region development, to transform. So what is their new growth strategy? Basically, it is the focus on networking. They are top innovators. So how can you grow further? Well, they said, we focus on growing regional, national, international, and public networks. The network IQ assessment showed that they have few high network IQ influencers, and this can be traced on LinkedIn and Twitter, but they need much more new strategic networking skills across entire organization, within the institution, such as the university, such as the Eindhoven engine. And Eindhoven engine is a new how should I say, it's physical space. You can say it's an accelerator, but it's really a disruptive community who was mandated with a mission to disrupt the way people innovate there, and they are pretty good at innovation. So looking at the assessment, we decided that they need really to build the capacity across entire organization for those network thinking skills. And through the talent development program, we managed to increase the network IQ by over 8%. And 70% participants declared that they built more trust-based relations. So this is all about those getting from the networking, from those weak ties to the strong ties, to building new partnerships. They became more networked. You will be surprised, maybe not. Our research shows that on average, 52% of employees are not networked with each other. So you may work with someone, but you're not taking advantage of the intelligence the person has. You're closing the interaction only to the very, very limited ability to tap on your knowledge, on your contacts, on your creativity. And then 60% learned how to break the silos. And we developed 4 new strategies how to use the networks they already have to develop new programs, new partnerships, new collaborations. And I believe that this was an interesting recognition for me that one of the top innovative regions in Europe puts emphasis on growth through networking. Now, the second case is coming from a region which struggles, or as in the Great Britain they say, it's a flyover region between the very developed south and the north. But we worked with them with the Aspect network, which is a network of universities. You have logos below, so it includes Manchester, Oxford, University of Glasgow, and it was the first acceleration program focused on social science entrepreneurs, funded by the UK Innovation Agency. And I found it fascinating because especially for the post-COVID time, for the green recovery, we cannot focus only on tech solutions, on tech entrepreneurs. We need really to empower those who are able to bring the societal aspect into innovation and growth. They already use in the acceleration program the existing methodologies, Exile, business model, Canvas, of course, design thinking. But really what those entrepreneurs were struggling with, what was their shared challenges was, who's the right person? How do I innovate with users of my new solutions? How do I build trust between science and business? If I'm a scientist, how do I talk with people in business? And then what is the purpose and how do I really communicate? And we worked with those entrepreneurs through our program. And what we discovered was that they had very little digital brand. And truly in the post-COVID time, using your ability to virtually engage via LinkedIn or Twitter and having the very clear strategy of what kind of network will fit your purpose turned out instrumental for them. So summing up these two case studies, one is at the focus on the drivers of innovation in the ecosystem, such as universities or specially funded new accelerators. And the other one is focused on really bottom-up empowerment of those who make things happen. I always believe that innovation without entrepreneurship is just, it's just an empty concept. So I want to thank you. I will stop sharing my screen, and if you can comment or ask questions, I will be very happy to take if there is time. If not, we can always connect on social media and have a discussion.
Thank you very much, Darina. Daria, was a really excited conference. You said that we are a good ecosystem, a dynamic ecosystem, but fragmented. And you show us the Netherlands in approach in technology, and the UK is a different approach based on bottom-up and disruptive processes. How do you see the challenge of Catalonia facing this green recovery that you mentioned about how can we overcome the crisis, the post-COVID crisis, in terms of green strategies and Green Deal? How do you see Catalonia with this fragmented ecosystem?
Thank you very much, Xavi, for the question. I think that my answer would be totally different a few months ago. Today, I believe that the first thing we all need to do is to defend those who are most vulnerable. And in the short term, we really should focus on the societal needs. And in this respect, I believe that Catalonia, Barcelona has been doing some amazing work. If I look how how I look at Barcelona, Barcelona is a world example of the ecosystem, and there is no doubt about it that Barcelona itself should just do more of the same and then do it better, because there is a proven track record. But when we look at the broader Barcelona, at the metropolitan area, we see enormous white patches of being stuck far in the past. And I believe that today, before the COVID, I would very much encourage Barcelona to become even more global, to connect even more globally, become even more open, attract even more talent. But today, I would say that my recommendation would be to focus on your ecosystem and or bet on connecting those who are stuck in the past, let's call it, with the capacity that Barcelona has, because because you have it in the ecosystem. And I think that integrating it locally would be the first thing to do. How to do it? To connect, you need two people to connect. You cannot have one who's a good connector, good networker, good innovator. So you need to build capacity between those who maybe are not that skillful yet, maybe do not have a strategy. But also, I really think that developing a purpose network fit would be very instrumental for many cities, be it Mataró, Badalona, Calella, Sant Cugat, those who are more or less advanced, but connecting this much stronger locally.
To make the metropolitan area a more influencing pillar in this terms. So
you just need.
How can we use the influencing power of Barcelona and broaden this power to the metropolitan area?
Yeah, because Catalonia is in an amazing position that you have the know-how and the people in Barcelona itself who know how to do it. Now the question is to spill over this knowledge and to have a strategy to pull the remaining cities, small and mid-size, into this ecosystem. And for the short term, for the really post-COVID time, I believe that this would be a big strategy to defend those most vulnerable and then prepare for the future. Thank
you. Is there any other question? Maybe in the chat we can. Yeah, Anna Bulik, you have any advice on improving our networking capacities? Anna is working in the department, so you pointed out that we have a strong capacity in strategic thinking, but we are low in the other three aspects. So, and Anna is a very good orchestrator.
Okay, when we speak about networking, we should see that being in a team is networking too. So being with those strong ties is also, the social interaction is also networking. Now, what is really interesting in terms of dynamics of the ecosystem is that you need to be tightly knit locally, so be very connected, very trusted in the team you work with, but also loosely coupled beyond your organization. And only having the balance of being able to bring in knowledge from the outside and then share it with your trusted team is really what drives change. So quite often there are people who are very good at the old ways of working. In other words, many people prefer face-to-face contact instead of virtual interaction. And I'm not talking about the tools. I'm talking about really understanding that you work differently as a virtual team than as a team who meets every day in the office, right? So first of all is building the capacity, and our methodology helps systematically understand the virtual teamwork, but also what many people do not think, that every single person has a capacity only if builds a digital presence for professional purpose. So uses basically social media for building the brand, builds the brand of the entire organization. So in the case of Eindhoven, this was fascinating because many people didn't at all use the social media for professional purpose. But only when we started a systematic process, suddenly the brand, and of course we use certain metrics because it's simple to see how many people are engaging with Eindhoven engine on LinkedIn. It's something very concrete that we can measure, but this has implications which are much harder for us to monitor, but there is a repercussion, there is a waterfall effect. So they realized that it's not enough that the communication team posts something. It's not enough that the few high-level influencers post or engage with their profile. Only when we mobilized the entire organization, something magic happened, because then people became much more connected and trusted to each other. They felt that they are growing personally, that they've heard that their voice is valuable, that someone listens, that someone engages. And of course, this has created a very interesting buzz among the agenda that is important for them. So because the algorithm, of course, reinforce and give premium if there is a discussion, if there's authentic content created. So it's just one case of maybe small-scale transformation, but large-scale transformation is just the synergy between the small-scale transformations that every one of us can do.
Okay, there's another question of Ferran Falcón. You have it in the chat. Can you read it?
I focus on. Sorry, I focus on.
Yes, I will read it. Daria, I really appreciate your speech. For us, it's important to work day by day our skills to become a good organization in terms of innovation. I think that we are in a good position to improve it. To improve this. This is the secretary, the general secretary. My concrete question is about a project that you explained me a few weeks ago. What about the Green Cities project that probably the EU is going to start?
Sure. One of the big innovations that we've been working on for the new financial perspective is called the mission-oriented policy. And the significant part of the Horizon Europe budget is about the missions. There were 5...
It's a hotspot approach.
Yes, yes. And there are 5 missions, and one of them is focused on cities. So I believe that this would be a fantastic opportunity for Barcelona, but also for the metropolitan area to look into how to take advantage of this line of thinking and line of funding to get transformed. Now, what are the key elements underlying the mission? Number one is the integration of the ecosystem. So by integration, collaboration, it's really about being strongly networked. The capacity of bringing in the universities, the research labs, the industry, the government into a coherent vision. The second thing is critical is citizens' engagement. And I believe Barcelona is pretty well positioned with having the Decidim platform and having the track record of truly engaging the citizens into designing the policy, checking and implementing the policy. Now, the third aspect is about the mission. What is the mission? We talked about the grand challenges and the sustainable development goals, and we all agree what should be done, right? The whole world agrees what should be done to make the world a better place. Now, the question is how to do it. And really a mission is something very concrete project, or rather a program that is composed of a few projects that has a foreseeable impact on an ecosystem. So, of course, we talk about the mission. The example is the Man on the Moon mission, which indeed created a dynamics that probably no one expected when Kennedy set out the mission to get the first man on the moon and back safely. No one expected that this vision will catalyze the DARPA, the Defense Agency for Disruptive Research and Innovation, many universities, many industry. There was the whole transformation of the system, but indeed it started with the top-down amazing idea, which seemed incredible, which just seemed beyond the rational thinking, if you want, and then it mobilized many people who started to collaborate. There was a lot of redundancy in the system, and there was a lot of failure that people don't speak now about. But out of all this learning came up new industries, new solutions that went to the social use. And I believe that if only Barcelona could have this brave vision, if Catalonia had this brave vision, and then with the existing track record and capacities to innovate for digital innovation, I think that there's an excellent opportunity to mobilize, to catalyze and network all those actors.
So thank you very much. So the missions is a good opportunity for this brave response that you are asking. So thank you, Daria. We are now going to close this event with the General Director, Mercè Rius. Mercè, quan vulguis.
Si em permeteu un moment, tinc en el Serafí el telèfon. El posarem en directe perquè ens digui alguna cosa abans que entri la Mercè, d'acord? Espero que funcioni perquè us posaré el telèfon. Ella està a la platja, Cadaqués, i ens saluda des d'allà. A veure si el veieu. I ara sí, no?
Sí, el veiem, sí.
Serafí, endavant.
Ja?
Sí.
M'estan veient?
Sí, sí, sí. Mira't.
Bueno, moltes gràcies a tothom. La veritat és que entre que estic de vacances molt relaxat i la notícia que m'acaben de donar, podria dir alguna barbaritat. Estic que perdoneu, estic eufòric, estic contentíssim i molt agraïts a l'organització d'Innovaires. Quina millor manera de començar les vacances, fa 2 dies que les he començat, amb aquesta gran notícia i sobretot també felicitar tots els projectes perquè la veritat jo no m'imaginava que pogués arribar fins aquí perquè hi havia projectes molt potents i suposo que d'alguna manera també serà prioritzat el fet de que cal començar per una campanya potent de sensibilització, no? I que les accions han de venir en paral·lel, però s'ha de començar per aquí. És la interpretació d'una mica que jo faig, no? Però gràcies a tothom i ens veiem aviat quan torni de vacances per seguir treballant en el projecte. Gràcies i felicitats a tothom.
Gràcies, Serafí. Adéu. Doncs endavant. Mercè, em sembla que et toca tu ara.
Sí, doncs moltes gràcies a tots. Thank you, Daria, also for your interesting presentation, your interesting speech. I la veritat és que fa una mica de llàstima d'alguna manera tancar aquest procés o aquesta jornada perquè jo crec que més enllà d'uns projectes concrets o d'uns premis o ara d'una xerrada que és interessant, jo crec que això ha sigut un procés que vam anar començant quan se'ns va oferir a la Direcció General de Qualitat Ambiental per part del secretari general i de l'equip del Xavier Baulies de anem a treballar i anem a fer un projecte d'innovació i crec que d'alguna manera el premi per part de tots els que hi hem participat, tant més a nivell tècnic o també com a nivell dels participants, ha estat precisament coses que ens estava posant en valor la Daria, de fer aquest networking, aprendre els uns dels altres, trencar una mica aquests silos que deia, de que no ens comuniquem. I va haver-hi un moment en què ens plantejàvem si fer-ho intern al Departament o treure-ho a fora i vam dir no, escolta, ens obrim i que hi participi tothom. I, per tant, aquesta participació dels ajuntaments, aquesta participació o aquesta creació d'equips que eren multidisciplinars, aquest acompanyament per part de l'equip del Xavier Baulies com dels experts en innovació. Jo crec que això ha estat un aprenentatge per part de tots que per mi probablement és el més important d'aquest projecte. I a partir d'aquí també hi han sortit una sèrie d'idees com a jurat, com a membre del jurat, jo crec que va ser difícil triar-ne alguna. A vegades, al final també una de les coses que vam acabar valorant era quina queia més dintre de les nostres competències per tal de poder-la tirar endavant, però sí que una de les coses que va sortir era que treballarem i ens comprometem a parlar amb els organismes que creiem que amb alguna d'aquestes idees tenen més la competència o és més adequat que ho portin a terme, doncs intentar parlar, intentar fer aquest networking, que jo crec que amb el tema de la qualitat de l'aire ja fa temps que fem, perquè precisament no és un tema ni dintre de la Generalitat que depengui només d'un departament o d'una unitat, sinó que intervenen diferents unitats, però que, a més, en aquest cas van molt més enllà perquè, com a mínim, hem d'involucrar a tots els ajuntaments, estem treballant també amb empreses, amb acords voluntaris, amb aplicar normativa de la comissió per tal de reduir la contaminació, però al final, i també una mica aquesta campanya de conscienciació, i per això també ho vam valorar, ens fa falta la involucració de tots i moltes vegades necessitem aquesta conscienciació per després poder aplicar polítiques que no siguin molt contestades per part de la ciutadania o com a mínim que siguin enteses, perquè moltes vegades acaben comportant alguna limitació o alguna restricció respecte del que pot fer. Per tant, això és un tema que s'ha d'entendre molt bé. I per la meva part, res més, felicitar-vos a tots i esperar que això no es quedi aquí, que aquests projectes es puguin anar desenvolupant i que el tema de la innovació sigui el fil conductor de moltes altres iniciatives que es puguin anar duent a terme en el Departament i comptant amb tot aquest ecosistema que tenim al voltant. Moltes gràcies.
Gràcies, Mercè. Podeu obrir càmeres un moment, tots els que sigueu? Can you open your cameras? Bé, with a hand. If you raise a hand, that means that the conference was good. In this case, raise your hands. How was the conference? So, thank you, Daria from Sweden. Gràcies, directora general. Adeu.
Adéu, gràcies a tots. Adéu.
Adéu-siau. Berenguer. Daria, ciao.
Ciao. A veure, ara ens quedem.
Sí, queden 3-4 persones només ja.
Jaume! Pensa! Aquest se n'ha anat a... Què falta? Hi ha el Carlos Terés i Glòria Reyes.
No deuen estar aquí ara.
No deuen estar aquí. Els puc eliminar? Vull dir que aquí quan diu eliminar el participant...
Sí, suposo que el pots tancar, sí. Pots eliminar el participant. Pots?
Sí.
Doncs au, elimina'ls.
L'Alfons també s'ha quedat. Alfons, et vols quedar a dir alguna cosa al xat o et trec? Perquè la Mercè hem de lligar coses.
Jo tanco l'enregistrament ara.
Sí. No, ja plego. Fantàstic, Alfons, moltes gràcies.